is about to start purging old inactive Gmail accounts in less than 24 hours. Back in May, they updated their policy. They used to clear the data in accounts that hadn't been touched in 2 years. Now they're getting rid of accounts altogether. Ted Jenkin, CEO and co-founder of Oxygen Financial, can tell us more about it. Ted, good to have you. One of the biggest questions I have here is why now? Why is Google saying, what is Google saying about this move to delete inactive accounts? But also, how are other tech watchers interpreting this announcement and the timing?
Yeah, well, Christian, good to be with you. And this actually starts tomorrow. Let's remind people of that. But mostly what this is about is that accounts that haven't been used in a long time, let's think about it. They're the most likely to be compromised, meaning they have old passwords or they don't have two-factor authentication. And these accounts are the ones that could be hijacked. They could be used for spam, identity theft, or any type of malicious content. Consider out there a Facebook account as an example that has 0 people following and they only have 1 follower and there's nothing posted on there. These are actually potentially dangerous accounts. So I think Google's starting here and literally saying, let's throw out the trash. And I think other social media platforms may follow that over time for accounts that could be spammy or just don't belong on the platform.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Facebook because I ran across some reporting from the Associated Press about how Meta had to shut down fake accounts created by somebody in China that were posting polarizing information. How big of a concern are accounts like these meant to divide people through mis and disinformation ahead of next year's general election?
I mean, let's think about this. For all of these platforms, including Google, I don't think there's anybody that's watching the program tonight that hasn't been subject to some sort of phishing scam. And by phishing, we're talking about the PH. And look, hackers out there love to get into these email accounts and start sending spammy information. Sometimes they can get your cell phone number and then send you spam through your text altogether. The other thing that Google's looking at in here, literally, there are people that have passed away and they've died and they haven't set up the inactive account manager or their family hasn't sent in the death certificate. And these accounts are literally there for people who will never use them again. That's why Google, in part for all of this, is trying to clean it up.
I'm curious to know just how big a problem are these compromised accounts? You talked about, what they could be used for. How big of a problem is today in our current technology landscape?
I think the massive problem is most people at work simply don't read who actually sent the email. So I've had this happen to me before, and I own multiple companies where somebody says the email came from Ted Jenkin, but if you actually read the email sender, it came from somebody in Russia or another country or just some other account, but they're asking my employees to send them gift cards that I need them immediately, or I need money because I need to be bailed out of jail. Things that you think nobody would fall for, but people fall for them all the time, and it continues to happen. And that's why email companies like Google and then the social media platforms, they really need to clean up these accounts. It affects a lot of people, especially as more seniors get onto technology and they use their email. It can be very dangerous.
What are some other platforms doing about this particular issue? We know that Google's getting ready to just get rid of all these unused accounts that haven't been touched in the last 2 years. Are other companies kind of doing the same thing, or are they taking a different kind of approach to this?
Well, I think what you've seen front and center when you look at platforms like Twitter, now X, you see what's happening on Instagram, is that they've started by saying, are you a verified account? And that tells people whether or not you're an actual account. I think after that, they're going to look at accounts just like you're seeing on Gmail now that haven't been used for a couple of years, or they have very few followers or people following and saying, are you really a legitimate account? Those are the ones that I think you'll see wiped away. But a lot of the other platforms have started by saying, let's charge you to verify. That's the easiest way we're going to say that this is a credible account.
Yeah, this is a big thing that I wanted to get to because I know a lot of folks may be looking at this segment and saying like, okay, what can we do? We know the purge is coming. What can we do to make sure our accounts aren't deleted? And if they are deleted, is there any chance to get them back?
Well, I think, Christian, the easiest thing that people can do is just sign in once every 2 years. That probably means it's a legitimate account. And that doesn't mean you have to be sending emails or even scrolling through your emails, although that will help. For Google, you could simply watch some YouTube videos. What I would tell Google users is that Google Photos has a different sign-in, and if you don't sign into that account for 2 years, yes, you could lose your photos if you haven't backed them up. They may be things that you want. So the only real way to get around this is that they're not going to delete right now. If you're a school or a company or an organization, if you've used an account to buy a Google subscription or Google Home products, they're not going to cancel you for that. But right now, the easiest thing to do is just sign in.
Just sign in, folks, and then set your alarm for 2 years, well, 1 year and some change after you sign in, so you can do it again and again and again. Ted Jenkin, CEO and co-founder of Oxygen Financial, much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Christian.